Hello, my name is Merrick Allum, and welcome to day 10 of the 1660 challenge. That's right, we've done 10 of these. We're already a sixth of the way through, but it's not too late to join. So, if you don't know what the 1660 challenge is, basically, I'm going to be writing a script every single day for a short film, then posting a video about my process all the way through the end of February. That's right, 60 scripts, 60 days, it's going to be great. But you can participate at home or in a hotel room like me in Indianapolis. It's great. But you also don't have to do short film scripts. I'm doing them because I think that's what's going to benefit me the most. But if you want to try 60 new flavors of coffee, go do it. If you want to, if you want to write 60 stories about an island where people only wear funny hats, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to stop you, but whatever you think would benefit you the most, I want you to do that, and also share it with me using the hashtag 1660 challenge, but that's not important right now. And with that out of the way, let's get into things. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, we've got another genre bender. This is genre bender 2, which is great. And it's a sci-fi one, and it has to be within my means, which is a lot of restrictions to put on yourself, but I think it's good to do low-budget stuff like this, especially with sci-fi. I think a lot of times, if you get too big of a budget with it, it can get overblown and inflated and just, ugh. So, what is our sci-fi film called? Well, I struggled with this a little bit, right? Not only with the title, but with the actual concept itself, because although I am a savant and a genius, writing a low-budget sci-fi script that felt a little bit original, at least, it's still a challenge, you know? You want to rely on things that are the big, spectacular stuff, like spaceships and whatnot, but I knew I couldn't do that, and I felt if I did, it would be cutting corners, and also, I really didn't want to do time travel, because I feel like a lot of times, lower-budget stuff like this gets lumped in with time travel. I mean, it makes great movies, like, you get Looper by having low-budget sci-fi exist, but also I meant Primer. I meant. Regardless, I did finally come up with a concept, and it's something that I think I'll actually be able to shoot relatively easily, and I think it'll be good. It'll be a great time. It's called Dreams of Dusk and Freedom. It is about a person who wakes up in a bed, gets up, and they start clearing their eyes out, and then they're like, wait a minute, this ain't my room. What's going on here, pal? And so they walk out of the room in this giant vault-like door, right? And then they realize, oh yeah, I was participating in a sleep study or something. I'm having trouble remembering exactly what the study was for or how long it was supposed to be, but I should probably ask someone. So they go and they look for the people running the study, and they can't find anyone. There's no one there, right? So this is about them, and it's also about them slowly feeling like they're going insane over the course of it because they can't find anybody, and it's really dark in there, and things are moving and don't feel like what they seem, and things are changing around on them, and there's unrecognizable cryptic things there, right? And I think that is great because you need tension in sci-fi, you need tension in any storytelling, and I think it helps to have those things, especially to kind of combine genres a little bit with like a little psychological horror, maybe a little thrillerness, a little tense stuff. Combining that with sci-fi, especially when it's lower budget like that, can really help push the story along and make it feel like a cohesive narrative, you know? But there is sci-fi elements in it as well, which is good. They're just hidden under layers of other things, because I think, especially with sci-fi, a lot of times when you do that, you want to layer genres like that, as I mentioned earlier. Like, you know, Cowboy Bebop, that's a Western in space, stuff like that, you know? I think it helps. I think it helps a lot, especially with sci-fi, and especially with low-budget sci-fi, as I mentioned before, again. But that's great. It's a good time. It clocks in at around 6.4 minutes, so not too long to overstay its welcome, right? But also not short enough to where it doesn't feel like a complete narrative. You know, that was something that I kind of was struggling with a little bit yesterday. It didn't feel long enough to me. I mean, I'd still like to flesh out some of the scenes, but when you're getting close to 5 minutes, if it's a narrative that feels like it should be bigger than 5 minutes, you're probably running into some problems, and I think that I was. But that's okay, because it doesn't feel like that with this. This feels paced in my head when I was reading it. It feels paced out, correct, and like it would be a cohesive narrative if you were to have it all the way through in a way that doesn't feel too slow or too rushed and stuff. It takes time when it needs to, and it picks things up when it needs to. Even the end it's very like, the last like minute or so really picks up, but I think that it's well paced up to that point. You know, it's building the tension, and then the payoff is at the very end. That's fine. It's great. It's kind of like, well, as you might have gleaned from the title. I mentioned Dusk. It's a little Twilight Zone-esque, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I like Twilight Zone a lot. I'd love to do an adaptation of some old Twilight Zone episodes. That would be really cool. But it clocks in at around 6.4 minutes, so it's not too long, it's not too short, it's pretty good, and technologically speaking, it really requires props that I either already have or could easily make. Some of them are like pieces of paper with medical forms on them and stuff, and weird misinformation, things like that, and I could draw those up easily and print them out, and I think that is a valuable tool as a resource for low-budget filmmaking, especially, is making your own props and doing that type of thing, because not only does it help you develop those skills, but it helps fill out a scene. So when you're working in low-budget stuff, a lot of times you're just grabbing what you have and doing what you need, like with this lighting, right? I don't have any of my lighting equipment here, so I just am relying on natural sunlight and some hotel lamps, which, you know, hotels are notoriously dark for filming, for me. But part of the thing that can really amp up stuff like that, amp up your production value for lower budget stuff especially, is when you make your own props. If they look good, or just simple details like that, like really small details, and I've written a lot of that into this that I think will flesh it out and also make it feel more sci-fi-y. But it all takes place in the basement of this building on my campus, so theoretically, once I get back there, I can film it like the next day if I wanted to. There's really not a lot of stuff that I would have to bring in at all, because it's already pretty close to what I'm thinking. It's sort of maze-like, and I think that that's another valuable resource as well as a low-budget filmmaker, is just location scout really well. You want to find places that other people maybe aren't filming at, or you're kind of out of the wayside, and those can be hidden gems, you know? So with those two things, I think that it could turn out really well, you know, like finding the good location for it and getting those small details and props and things of that nature. I really think that that type of thing won't hold it back as much as maybe it would be if I wasn't doing those things. Like if I didn't have great sets, or if I didn't have great details like that, it can really make it feel amateurish, especially if you're doing something like sci-fi that can feel in that territory really easily. But I think we're steering clear of that. And that's about all for us today. So tune in tomorrow when I've got even more magic up my sleeve. Today was within our means. Tomorrow's not going to be within our means, but who knows? Who knows what tomorrow is? Not me. What day is it? It's Thursday. I don't know. Maybe it's... I had to check the calendar just now on my screen to know that, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll be great. So, if you're doing the 60 and 60 challenge at home, please share with me using the hashtag 60 and 60 challenge. I love seeing what you're working on. People have been coming to me. They've been saying, hey, I want to do it. I want to do it with this thing. And I go, that's great. Do it. Yeah, update me, you know? And people have been messaging me, and it's great. But if you also want to share it with me on social media, feel free to do that. So... I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by.